I'll call the meeting to order then. Appreciate everybody being here today. First order of business is the adoption of the agenda. I sent out or passed out a modified agenda with a couple of different items on it. There are no questions. Is there a motion to accept the meeting agenda? Second. All right, all in favor? Aye. All right, approved. Minutes of the last meeting. Everybody has a copy of those. Are there any questions about the minutes?
We approve.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. All right, minutes approved. This is the part of the meeting where the public is invited to give us any input, if there isn't. All right. We'll move on to the next item, and Chairman's report. I have a couple of things. First of all, I want to thank Commissioner Jones for the crew car, which we now have at the airport, which actually looks pretty much like a state trooper car that I hope you're not driving around too fast, Randy.
Oh, no sir, never do that.
They took the blue lights out.
Well, we've got you another one in the works, but it's going to be January before we can get it. It's a Blazer coming from Planning and Development.
January next year?
Yeah. It's
Okay.
coming. So you make that car last till then. I'm trying to find you a pickup.
Excellent, thank you.
But I've got you a Blazer coming.
Yeah, well, it's
Fantastic.
the new car is the substitute car to what we had is a big improvement over what we got. Thank you.
It's excellent.
Our meeting with the Georgia Department of Transportation, which was originally scheduled last week, was postponed because of the snow. This meeting is pretty important because it's just about the last piece that has to fall into place for us to finalize our plans about the new T-hangers. We've got a couple of other balls that we've managed to catch. One is a broad commitment for the financing, for the bank financing from a local bank. The only question is, how much is that financing going to be, which is going to be dependent upon how much the GDOT folks are willing to provide us. We hope to find out a lot more about that next week. That's on the 23rd. Everybody's invited to go if you can make it. Everybody on the authority is invited. If you want to go, please let me know. We are continuing the process, the interviewing process for the assistant manager at the airport. We're going to be interviewing someone tomorrow. We've got several other respondents to our original classified ad. Randy and I have been talking about this, but we're going to go through those as well. Hope to come up with a candidate sometime within the next few weeks. He will be vetted completely to the authority. Small point, but an interesting point. I've talked with Phil Landrum and confirmed that we can have a member of the authority join the meeting by telephone. If you happen to be away and want to join the meeting, you can do so. The condition is that a quorum has to be physically present. So there had to be 3 of us here at the current structure of the authority. If we have 3 present, then the 4th can be present by telephone, which may help in the future. And finally, we will have a short executive session immediately following our regular meeting. We'll have to ask for the room to be vacated, but we'll be done with the business of the meeting by then. And that's all I have to say. Are there any committee or authority member reports? Anyone have anything they need to say? All right, Treasurer's report. I'm going to refer to this as a preliminary financial statement. The figures were incomplete when I received them. We had no tie-down fees, hanger fees, or land lease fees that were indicated. They're normally accrued. For some reason they weren't accrued, so I accrued what was historically the average figure that we put in that in that place. So these are conditional revenue figures, and we're missing a fair number of expense figures as well. We're missing communications, water, electricity, some items that clearly we've had expenses for. So I'm going to be working with Faye to make sure we can clean this up. The large item that you see, non-employee insurance of almost $12,000 is the annual fee that we pay for that policy. I figured it would come in later in the year from a budget purpose standpoint, but we're taking it this month so that with the revenues that I've estimated, we're showing a loss for the month, the 1 month of January, of about $4,600. If we take the insurance out, you can see we're doing considerably better than that, but on the other hand, we're missing some expenses. So I'd say the report needs to be finalized, put it that way. And once I have that, I'll forward that to everybody in the authority. Any other questions on the financial statement?
If I may, you might want to give Faye a heads up, because I think she's getting the audit started. It's cranking up pretty good. The year-end audit, so she
Already? Okay. That may be part of the problem. No. All right, I'll do that. Okay, if there are no questions on the treasurer's report, Randy?
Yes, for the month of January, we're slightly lower on our 100 low lead fuel sales. Everyone knows because of inclement weather. We're about 70% of what we were tracking last year. Total January sales for the month in fuel was $12,223. Our on-hand jet quantities almost 5,500, and our on-hand 100 low leads almost 4,000 gallons. The 100 low leads should carry us through mid-March with previous examples to use and baseline, and our on-hand jet running about 5,500 should carry us to the end of March. I don't anticipate buying any fuel. Fuel is staying relatively steady in price. With this inclement weather's put us about, you can see there was a week there, it was kind of real slim pickings of people coming in and out for fuel. Jet A, on the other hand, is running about 85% of last year, and we're still waiting for Air Life or Air Methods to put in their 2,000 gallon tank. So the day they notify it's going in, we'll have to lay on another fuel load. But right now, we don't anticipate any expenditures for fuel until mid or end of March.
Can you tell us what we paid for 100 low lead and Jet A the last time we purchased?
Let's see, Jet A estimated is around 189, and our 100 low lead was about 275. And it's been over 2 months since we purchased. We're staying pretty competitive right now because the fuel prices are starting to increase around some of the areas instead of decrease. So when you go onto the 100 low lead websites, we're staying pretty competitive.
And with the change in oil price per barrel bottoming out and coming back up, yes, fuel prices look like they will begin to increase a little bit.
Yes.
Does the county want to buy some futures on fuel?
Ooh, yeah, there you go.
Again, let me check with DeKalb County on that.
Talk to Delta on that one.
Yeah, Delta.
They got along this time.
Say again what your total sales were, Randy?
Right now, our total sales $12,223
for January.
Yes, sir.
Okay, well that's, see, we're only showing about 10,200 in the financials for the month.
And I think it's Beverly's posting. She just hasn't called up yet. She has a lot of stuff that has to be posted yet.
The daily stuff that you send over there? Yeah.
Yes. And I cleared everything up through yesterday, so she has 100% of everything's cleared since first of the year. Now, if you look at the 100 low lead chart, you see 1,699 gallons pumped, and that's an average of 369 based on people based here. It's 389, but we don't break it out, so you can estimate Our estimates come around $6,269 minimum. And it'll be slightly higher because of transit paying $389, that extra 20 cents. Again, thanks to the commissioner for the crew car. It's 1,000% better than the one we had. Doesn't sound like there's a body in the trunk trying to escape. And pretty much everything works on it, so kudos to you.
If I may, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
The tank that they're gonna put in over at the medic
Yes.
ambulance, are you just gonna have them drop a 2,000 over there, or are you gonna transport it back in?
No, they're going to bring a 2,000-gallon tank and set it up permanent on their site, and we'll be the one to fill it.
So we're gonna fill up, you can't have the truck when they come and fill your jet up, or just have them drop it over there?
For the first load, the first fill.
Oh, no, we're going to take the truck over and fill the first one because we have to meter it out and it has to go through the box.
Okay.
If we pump it straight from the big tank, we won't be able to, it'll take forever because it cuts off at 250 gallons.
Are Perry Brothers setting the tank?
I don't know. Air Methods they're all over the United States. They may have a contractor that they prefer. I'll find out. I'll call Colorado tomorrow and see who they plan on using. It's a good question. Thank you.
Okay, anything else on the airport? Okay, the next item is airport engineers report. Mr. Mayfield.
All right, the items that you had listed was the partial horseshoe acquisition for the land acquisition reimbursement. It's my understanding the contract between GDOT and the authority has been submitted and it's waiting on execution within GDOT, and that usually takes anywhere from 30 to 90 days. Just depends on how long it takes to get everybody to do the signatures.
Okay, well, I haven't seen anything relating to the authority. It's going through the county. So.
Oh, I'm sorry, yeah, I apologize.
Is it, and Phil Landers initiated that?
Yes.
Okay.
Actually, the first original 300, and you remember the total on that, I think that's already pretty well laid to rest. We haven't seen the check yet. That's pretty well laid to rest. What we're working on now is the rest of it.
Right. Well, we may get into that in the next item here. Okay, so within the next 60 days, we're anticipating that.
I think that's going to be, as I said, it usually takes 30 to 90 days to process, to go through execution and signing the check. Once you have the signatures, it'll take about 15, 20 days to cut the check, and they'll notify you immediately. We'll be with GDOT and FAA tomorrow for the workshop, the GA workshop. That was one of the things I was trying to get with Scott Friday and this morning. Today I haven't been able to track him down, so thought I would get an update from him tomorrow. So.
All right, well, and we're talking about the next item, GDOT update. The news that we got at our last meeting about uncertainties about the airport improvement plan. That's essentially the information I'm interested in.
Yeah, that's still up, and that is for the aviation fuel tax.
Yes.
That's still up in the air. That has not been resolved. Delta is fighting that tooth and nail. Delta was given tax exemption for fuel tax back in 2005, 2006, somewhere in that time frame where they were about to go bankrupt. And so the state said, well, that you're a big employer through the state. We'll give you this tax exemption, and that's what they're trying to fight now with the House Bill 175, is to get that tax revenue back in to get to the state airport system. And last year was anticipated, I think the tax they should have paid was about $22 million. So that was that $20 to $30 million that we had mentioned that GDOT was hoping that they would get.
So until that's resolved, do you see anything moving forward from a funding perspective, or are there funds outside of that that could be available?
There are some funds outside of that. There was a series of projects that were signed up for aviation-related projects, and I guess the cancellation, but the expiration of that was February 15th, yesterday. So there are funds that are coming available from that batch of contracts. I don't know how much that's gonna be, but they're feverishly looking to see what's available. I don't know if that's gonna be a lot, it could be, or it could be minimal.
And that they usually want shovel-ready projects, so to say.
That is correct. And we've already been in front of them talking about the apron project, as well as, any issues if we wanted to go forward with on the T-hanger site development, even though right now we're looking at you borrowing money for that, but it's just, we just stand in front of them just in case.
Well, borrowing for the physical structure part, I mean, you cannot do this project without help in the site prep. And one of my hopes is that we can raise Pickens County Airport in terms of visibility with GDOT to the point that we can have the advantage of some of whatever funds are available.
But we've already earmarked, as I said, for this available money that should be available, that was coming as a result of the expiration date of yesterday. But there are also the discretionary funding that's the end of the fiscal year, GDOT fiscal year, as well as
This June, right?
June 30th, yes, sir, 31st, whatever the last day is, and closeout monies. So there's 2 batches of money, and they'll start divvying that up April timeframe, knowing how much should be available, and that's where they'll come to us with projects that are shovel ready that can go forward.
I'll bring down a gold-plated shovel and put it on their desk. We're ready. You said House Bill 175 is the...
Yes, sir. That's what's being proposed to get Delta back on the off again tax exempt.
That reminds me of something I forgot to mention earlier. A friend of mine, I should go back and say that whenever I have a question about anything, my first instinct should be to Google it and see if I can find an answer, and I don't normally do that, but I did go online today and Google the question, how do we follow legislation going through the Georgia government? And I got a list of all of the legislation which has been promoted by Rick Jaspers by bill number. I sent an email to you, as a matter of fact. And I did not see anything that I recognized as possibly involving the legislation we're trying to get through, that is to change our numbers from 7 to 5. So I sent an email to Rick and asked for the number of the bill which contains the legislation, the legislative update, which is going to change our structure, and I'll see what happens.
Today was crossover day, or was yesterday crossover day, so it should have went from the House to the Senate. Now, again, you should have had some sort of a acknowledgement through the website, because Rick's telling us that it's in the works. But I don't know what
it could be. It could be included in some other House bill as a secondary line item.
It could be.
I talked to him last week, and he said he'd gotten back, y'all probably saw the legal ad report.
He was getting with
back the editors.
Yeah, he was getting with the paper because he had to post it. Yeah.
So that was, and he was ready. He had it prepared for the crossover.
Yeah.
So he was on schedule for what should be.
So it's happening.
Mm-hmm.
Good. All right.
What is his name?
It's Rick
Jaspers.
Jaspers, J-A-S-P-E-R-S-E, Jaspers.
The GAA workshop starts tomorrow, Thursday and Friday, and we're going to Capitol for legislative session on Thursday, so it's somebody we need to track down to, I don't know if he'll be there.
Good thought.
But I mean, that's what we're there for, is to go knock on doors, so.
If you just start mentioning the word Pickens, if you only get halfway through that word, he'll stop you and say, come on, don't worry, guys. Yeah.
But I mean, if it's somebody we need to look up, be glad to.
Actually, his office is in the Capitol now.
Is it?
So you don't have to go across the street.
Okay.
So it's there. And one quick question, you talked House Bill 175. They should have done a tax abatement back in 2004, 2005 for Delta. It's normally a 10-year tax abatement. Is it longer than the House Bill
I
175?
think they reviewed it. And I said 2005, 2006, that may may not be right, but I think it was 10 years, and I think they renewed it in 2012 or something. I'm just throwing out dates that I'm thinking about, but they're trying to retract that second motion. I'll send you some information that I have on that.
Well, I can go on the website and look at it directly. Okay, good. Anything else you want to tell us about?
Obviously, as we said earlier, we're just staying in front of them and telling them we have several projects that we could be shovel ready, especially the apron project, apron area project. So if something comes up and it's safety related, so we're up on high on the priority list.
If we get some indication that they're going to be able to provide enough funds for us to get the side work done on the T-hangers, and we can make the bank financing work out, the economics work out, how quickly, once we have that information, can we get a bid package to get the process going? What kind of time frame are we looking at?
I'd say within 30, 45 days tops, if not sooner.
To have a...
To be ready to advertise. And then it'll be another 21 to 30 days, depends on what procurement requirements are for the county, for advertisement. It'll be 30 days.
It's 21, 30 days. It's normally standard, whatever we do with any road projects or any others, with anything that do with GDOT.
So to say within 60 days, we can have.
All right, well, I'm asking because we owe the people that have given us deposits and commitments for hangar space to let them know that we're not going to make our April 1 original target date.
Well, yes, sir, that's what we had, I think we discussed that last, that we weren't going to be able to make the April 1.
Right.
Yes, the question then becomes, what is a realistic date that we can let these people know? Because we don't want to lose commitments if we can avoid it, but we also don't want to mislead them.
I think we had talked about June 1 construction date. That was an hour.
June 1 begin construction.
Begin construction.
And 30, 60 days.
It would be minimal on the site prep was, I think we were anticipating 30, 45 days on the site. The lead time would be the hangar, and that's 8 weeks for the developing the plans, the manufacturing plans, and ultimately to delivery of the building itself, 8 weeks, and it'll take 4 weeks to wreck.
Well, gentlemen, until the development authority's on board, we're still fishing, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, that is correct.
I'm almost scared to set a date because it's gonna happen, it could happen again.
Well, I'm not.
Indeed.
I'm not planning on. You're a good point. I'm not suggesting that we set a date. I think we owe the folks that have committed some kind of indication.
An update, right.
And we talked about July 30, if it's August 31st. I mean, we just need to be realistic about it.
Yeah, that's kind of relate just for, I guess, the pushback from today's date. Reason I'm saying that is, it's not that we're set on the contract to say June 30th, but just backtracking, that's what I would anticipate.
Well, and this is why on Tuesday next week, we can emphasize the fact that we're on hold until we get some indication, and if we can start. That's the gating factor right now, as I see it. Okay, thank you. Anything else?
That's it. Yes, sir.
Commissioner, any comments tonight?
Nothing new going on. Thank God the scrap iron prices have went down because we haven't missed any more manhole covers around the horseshoe area of the airport because we kept them getting stolen. Don't know where they're going to, but somebody likes to steal them. And so that was an issue. We're afraid somebody's going to run off in one of those holes. Also, the county went ahead and paid to have, we have a sediment basin across Upper Salem Road there that, unbeknownst to us, still belongs to the county. And we have airport property across the road. Not much, but we have one. So anyway, the sediment basin hadn't been touched in 14, 15 years. So it was in need to at least mow the grass and some trees that were about 20 foot tall. So, got it all cleaned out, we got that done, and so it's been cleaned up, ready to go, so it's good for now a few more years for sediment basin.
Where is this now?
It's when you go past, you know where the DOT barn is? When you go around Upper Salem Road, you got the DOT barn there on the right. As soon as you go around by the DOT barn and you make that curve, you see those big thick pine trees? It's in the back side of those pine trees right in there. And evidently that section of property in there belongs to the airport and / Pickens County. So I didn't know there was a sediment basin. The property owner that lives on down below there talked to me about it here a few months ago. And I got there and started checking, started pulling plans out. And sure enough, there's a sediment basin in there. And we need to keep it valid until what we're going to do with the extension of the runway and all that, because I don't want to, pull it out if we still got some use for it for the future. So I just went ahead and bit the bullet, went ahead and had it cleaned out and absorbed those costs.
Is it flooding in heavy rain?
It's catching a lot of the rain runoff. Luckily, right now, it's not absorbing any more sediment because we got everything under grass. But as soon as that project gets started somewhere in the future, it's designed to catch the sediment and keep it from going downstream, and that's what we're trying to avoid. Trying to have to come up with another set of plans to build another sediment basin. We got one there just to maintain it. So that's what we're up to.
So that's where that water goes.
Okay, great. Anything else?
I don't have anything else, just your car. We're still looking for you a pickup, at least a service truck for the area out there.
Yeah.
Hopefully we can come up with one of them maybe through the summer. But I have talked to planning and development, and they're looking at maybe next year 1 or 2 new vehicles for planning and development, because we got some that need to swap out. Don't have that many miles on, but they got a lot of years on them. But good vehicles, and they're 4-wheel drive lasers. And so one of them would be good to have for a airport vehicle. You got 3 seats scenario. So again, we don't want them out of the county. We want to keep our vehicles in the county.
True.
And I'd rather the people using them, again, I'm just going to remind everybody, the people that are using them as a courtesy car, don't haul 6 packs of beer in it.
Oh, true.
Especially when it's a county vehicle.
At least put it in the trunk.
At least put it in the trunk, yeah. But other than that, everything, so far so good.
Commissioner, are those big lasers or little ones?
They're the little ones.
Okay.
Yeah, they're standard.
They still haul several people.
You can still haul 6 people in
Yeah.
it, 6 adults.
Okay, thank you. I know no old business that we need to discuss. Anything you can think of?
No.
All right.
March the 11th is our next cookout, or lunch. March 11th at noon,
Friday.
Friday the 11th at 12 o'clock. Bring an appetite and a covered dish.
You have pretty good response from the first one.
Had about 35 this
Very good.
last
Very
week.
good. Very good.
I loved it.
All right, new business, I've already mentioned the meeting with GDOT scheduled for the 23rd again. Any member of the authority is invited, just let me know. I wanted to bring up, talk briefly about marketing. Once we're officially in possession of this piece of the horseshoe, then we have nothing in the way of establishing lease prospects on the property. To me, the absolute first step is to have a good website, and Mary has been very helpful in helping us get started, but we have more work to do, and what I want to propose to the authority is that we budget about $1,500 over the next 3 or 4 months to actually help and pay for some of the work that Mary's been doing for free so far. We already owe her a little money for our domain, I think you indicated. We're a little behind on that.
Well, I just hadn't billed since it's been sitting there. I figured once it was done, so. I mean, well, that's what if y'all wanted to use someone else to do it, that's what I thought too, because I didn't know if you were gonna get other people, to finish it or whatnot, or I can finish it, so.
Well, I think I'm moving on the assumption that you'd like to do this.
Yes, and I've actually, now have blocked out some time, so had to, changing the way I work, so I have time to do other things.
She wouldn't want to swap for a sediment basin, would she? I just swap for
Property, which has to be maintained.
Yeah.
Well, I'm proposing that we work out some arrangement to pay her so that we can hold her responsible for what she does as well, but I think that's only fair. We would pay on a pay-as-you-go basis as the work is accumulated, but I'd like to make a motion that the authority allocate $1,500. We may not use it all, she's only estimated 1,000, but websites are always 95% done, so we may need a little bit of a cushion.
You made the motion? Second.
Well, I'd like to ask if is there any discussion?
The website is a good, healthy website that looks good, is a wonderful tool. And Randy is doing a good job with keeping the airport out there with a good view with Facebook. It's not costing a thing.
And Facebook is great for right now information, but when I'm doing research for flying into an airport, I'm hitting website, I'm hitting some other online things, and I think getting that website up to date is.
I think we need to do both.
Absolutely.
That wasn't a negative on the website. That
No,
was
I agree with you. It's just, I think that the website is for more detailed information.
And there's a link on the website now to the Facebook account, so we've got them put together, which is good.
I second the motion.
All right, motion's seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor? All right, is there any other business for the regular meeting today? If not, we'll establish a new record here and finish up in 29 minutes. So we're done. We're adjourned. We're going to move in.
Technically, we don't need to adjourn. We'll have to come back out and.
Want to adjourn after?
Yes, we don't, yeah.
Well, I was.
So now we're going to do an executive session.
Should we move into the conference room?
Or it doesn't matter, whatever you want to do.
All right, well, then, the next item on our agenda is our executive session. So, all non-authority members are thanked for your presence, and we'll let you take
You need to move a second to an executive session.
All right,
So moved.
second? Second. All in favor? We need a separate set of notes for that.